guys? My name is Steven Tillman. Welcome to my channel. For most of you who have been around for a while on my channel watching my content, you know that my main thing is real estate, but broader, we do a little bit of photography as well. I'm gonna walk through some of the items I have that I use on a regular basis. I have a little monkey clips right on my belt. Then I have what's called pocket whizzers. Now what these are is it's a transmitter. All of them are transmitters, and they're also receivers. So you can mix match them however you need. But the way I have this set up over here is that I put this on my belt. I have this that's plugged into the camera set to receive. I have this on my belt that has become now a wireless trigger. I can now click to my camera and it takes a picture wirelessly. So that gives me hands where I have the wireless in my hand and the other hand to take the flash and point it up. So that was just a little bit of what's in my bag every time I shoot real estate. I also have this little clicker right here. This thing right here, all it is golf clicker. It was like $8 on Amazon. That helps me keep count since I'm taking several shots in different spots of multiple images. Every time I move the tripod, click it once. Every time I take those 3 to 4 images, click it, move it again. Take the images, click it, move it again. That way I'm not overshooting and then I'm spending more hours or more cost on my editing and it ends up making me lose money instead of get money. So I'm gonna take you with me step by step of the process on each image that I do, why I take the image that way, where I place my camera, doing window pulls as well, and then we'll go in and do some editing. So as you can see, right behind me, we have a shot of a very tall ceiling. It's about probably a 12-foot ceiling. You have these massive windows in the background. And so the door is off to the corner. So I can't take my camera and put it in the center of the room, which I like centered up shots. But since I'm forced to be in the corner, I want to take my camera and I want to put it as far in the corner as I can. So go to live view on your camera. So my ISO at 320, my f-stop always at 6.3. 6.3 will give me from like where you are right there on the camera to all the way to the end. And so when I focus, I want to focus my camera as far away as possible inside of the room. Now why do I not want to focus it on outside? Because I'm not worried about outside stuff. That's an accent. What I'm trying to tell the story of is inside the house. It's a dark contrast right here. So if I was looking in the way you're looking this way, and I was taking that picture, I would focus right here on that dark and light. So there's contrast, and that autofocus where I put that square, I'm doing a single shot autofocus, will be right there focused on exactly what I want it to, and it won't move, it'll stay there. And it won't be, it'll be able to find the focus easy, because sometimes dark floors will confuse it, and it'll kind of do that focused in and out real quick, and we don't want that. I'm in this corner, so what I want, so it's a little bright, so I want my shutter speed to open up to the shadows, so about 40. Take that image. See, I had it right there in the corner with that dot. Then what I want to do, because you see the camera set up right there, it's shooting that direction towards that corner like I just showed you. And so what I want to do is I'm trying to bounce the flash and even out the window light. What I want to do is take the flash, I got to be over my camera so I'm not in the shot. Take my flash, stick it to the side of here, bounce off of that. So now it gives it a nice, clean, true color of the walls, which is a big part of what this flash does. Because if you take a shot of just your regular camera without being real meticulous on white balance and things like that, because we're trying to hurry, trying to get this done, trying to get it shipped out, trying to get it back, we can get it to the agents, they can get this listing on the market. So I'm trying to get everything as fast and mainstream as possible, like straight to the editing, so that I can get this back out to the client. Now I want to bring that shutter speed out to where everything in the window through my lens on live view, everything through the window is clear and I can see actually what it is. It's not blown out. That's where this comes in. Pop off that flash, window pull. Then I do one more whoop shot, and that's it in case there were any reflections. And I saw there were some because you have this light color, you have clean glass. It's gonna reflect off of it a little bit. So let's go into the editing side of things and let's see what we got. So make sure you highlight all your images you want to work with. Right click, open with. I use Lightroom Classic every time. It's what I'm most familiar with. It's kind of what I started off with. So to me, it's just my go-to. I don't edit on anything else except for Lightroom Classic. Classic kind of guy. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. If you don't mind, slap that like button. Give me a little comment on some issues or questions you may have about photography. It could be outside of the realm of real estate. I do portrait stuff as well and weddings and all that. So shoot me your comments and I will try to make a video specifically for you. So when you bring images into Lightroom at first, you'll see that these are kind of a lighter gray, they're light. These are dark in the background. So it should automatically have all of them selected, but in case it doesn't, you can go through and select. Do not do check all because you're not trying to do all unless you're working on a full project like normally I would be. Import, give it a few seconds. And as soon as those bars disappear from up here, you can click the D key and that will take you right into Lightroom. So you can see immediately off the bat, we have a little bit of light pollution, which I don't stray away from color. Like I think the orange, when we walk into a room, anytime regular, not everything is perfect and white. You have, I call it light pollution, where it's like orange and some lights kind of give off a green tint. So I don't like the green, I always take that out, but the orange and stuff like that gives it a little bit of warmth, a little bit of contrast. I'm gonna dye those highlights down quite a bit, bring up the shadows, bring down the blacks. There's a left and there's a far left, those are the blacks, all the way just to nothing. Those are all the way to blown out. You can see there's some blown out right there in the sky. That's what that stuff is over there that's really high right there. But my, kind of the peak is a little bit to the right. So the reason I want it a little bit to the right is because I want everything in the image. You can see kind of that looks like a mountain where the colors are kind of coming together and everything, and light and dark is kind of, it's a good mid-range, that's what it's called right there in the mid-tones. And so I want the peak of all my stuff to be a little bit to the right. That's kind of all that I do. Now I do sharpen, but I make the radius smaller. And then if you're on the mask and you click and hold down and then touch Option or Alt, you can bring in that sharpness where you want it to. And so that's what I want. I want it to where it's kind of outlining everything. I don't want it all over the place. I don't want it on the walls and little stuff on the walls. I want it outlined here because that's where I put my focal point, as you saw earlier. I put it right in the corner where that contrast was. Now look at the outside, because this is the window shot right here. This right here is the flash shot. So you can see the peak right here, the mountain we were talking about, it's a little too hot. So I'm gonna bring it down just a tad. And so what I'm trying to do is, if you look kind of everywhere, the light shifts. It doesn't get dark and it doesn't get super light. It shifts into that mid-tones that we were talking about. I'm sitting here editing the video, and for some reason, I think the mic was up against, like the actual mic part was up against my throat, and it sounded terrible. It kept being muffled and then super hot. So I apologize. I will not put the mic like that again. Hopefully you stick around. I'm shifting, there's some different spots. I'm shifting, but it's staying kind of the same brightness, but the light is shifting from where I popped the flash, and that's what I want. This orange and stuff right here, you see how I didn't mess with it much? Because I knew over in here, my flash shot, it would pretty much take care of itself. So I'm gonna go into our window, so you can see that that's a little hot. Now you can see this reflection right here. So this is one thing you have an issue with when you do a window pull, is that anything that is in front of the window, kind of catty-cornered away from you, and you're shooting into the window, because you're shooting with such a large spread of light, because you're not really worried about lighting up the room, you're trying to do a full blast shot at the window to get that outside shot, it will light up some things there and you can see it. Now, what we can do if it really bothers us is we can take this shot and use it as a repair shot. See how that changed? What I'm looking at now is kind of where the glare is and how close is it to being the same. So let's go, I think it would work with it. That's kind of the basic corrections. And I was playing back and forth and messing around. You can do it as fast or as slow as you want. That's completely up to you. On one image, shift and click the very last image and that will highlight all of them. Right click, go into Edit In, Open as Layers in Photoshop. This will take it from Lightroom into Photoshop and it will import each individual layer, kind of like a cake where you're looking from the top. You can see the layers, how deep it goes and what's what, but from the top, you're painting through the layer that is on top. Shift and click my window pulls, bring them up to the very top. Then I want to, on this one, do darken mode, Option or Alt, black mask. Option or Alt, black mask. And here we are back to our foundation. So this one, shift, click, and we're hiding it. So now all that we have, you see that I can make this just where we see it visible. All we have on our bottom, on our foundation layer is our flash layer. So we had, when it imported, we had our ambient that was first, then we had our flash shot, and then we had our window stuff, our window pool, and then our whoop shot. So then we take those two, we put them up at the top, we put black layer mask over the top of them, and in a minute, when we want to reveal it, we're gonna use a white brush and brush over that, and that will reveal what we're wanting to do. So black mask hides, the white brush reveals. So if it's black, it's covered up, it's like a darkness. And then you do that, you're shining some light, and you can see what's there. If that helps you remember it. So I'm wanting to put all these back on. You see it didn't change anything. It's exactly the same because I have the black layer mask, and you're looking through all of these. So now that I have them covered where you can't see them, I'm on the flash. So now what I want to do is B for brush. I want to do my flow at about 10%. I want my hardness to be all the way to 0. Let's get that brush a little bit bigger. You see over here it has, make sure you're on the actual mask. Not the photo itself, but the mask. And then when you click B for brush, since you're on a mask, it will only give you the options of black or white. But if for some reason it's some weird other color, push X and that will bring it, push D and that will bring it back to white. But you can toggle between black and white by pushing X. So as you're going and you do something and you're like, I don't like that, it's a little too much, you can push, keep your finger on that X and click back and forth, and you'll toggle back and forth and be able to cover up and show and cover up and show. What do I want to do? So this up here has got some flash issues. I don't like it. Now remember, I held it back in the corner so I can bounce that flash off. If you shoot weddings, you have to have a flash where you can bounce it. You shoot straight flash, it's gonna look like this high key, weird stuff, and people like soft, but kind of airy, and that's what bounce flash does. It kind of brings that airiness to it. So we got flash issues over here, so let's make that brush a little bit bigger. We're gonna do reveal, because it was dark in that corner, okay? Now, I can paint over this windowsill, or this white, it doesn't matter. I wanna make the fan look natural. You see that shadow coming back? The reason you're doing this is because you want the light to look natural. It helps the true color of the walls and all the white. It gives it a true color. Well, the ambient is so that we can paint shadows back in, and sometimes color. Now, do I want all this color? I do like it when I bring the color back in on the floor, but watch this. If I want to do, let's do luminosity. Oh, the very bottom, duh. So if I wanted to do just light and not the orange and stuff, luminosity is light. Now I can put it back to normal and bring in that color. See how it changes the color back? But if I do that to luminosity, put some of those shadows back in there, it's not bad at all. The shine on the floor is natural, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you want to leave it on normal, that's fine. Because you see those orange colors, gives it a very natural look. Now let's go to our window pool. Now why do we do darken mode? So let's just put it in normal blending mode on the window pool. Watch this. It does okay, but see it shifting light right there on that white part? But if I do darken, do you see it snap? Watch, see? Messing with the light on the actual door or the window seal or whatever you call it. The darken mode makes it where I can just paint almost anywhere I want and it will not mess it up. So let's flatten the image, Command save, go back into Lightroom, wait for it, it'll automatically populate it. So you can tell, if we just highlight these right here, you can tell a big difference from the way it started off to what it is now. So now we can go back through and do some more adjustments, put a little more contrast in it, throw them shadows up a little more, bring down the blacks just a tad, highlights. And then what I like to do after this, and I can even put more sharpen if I want to get it real crisp and clean, just on the major lines. And then what I like to do after, the reason I do this at the very end, this is my last step, for verticals and things like that, is because for some reason in Photoshop when I was doing, I would take it before I brought it into Photoshop and blend them together, I would do it in Lightroom where I would correct the verticals. But then when I would go and align the layers, it would always snap and be funny and be weird. So now I do it on my last shot. So now I straighten my verticals, and then I want to crop in just a little bit. I don't want a lot of that doorknob. There's no reason for that. That's pretty much it. Simple little shot. I'm looking in, I can see the flooring, which is the floor to me is more important than the fans. They can see that corner in the very back up there at the top. That corner right there shows that the ceiling is very high. It's like a 12-foot ceiling, like I said in the beginning, but the floor is more important. Always, unless the agent specifically asks, make sure that you are shooting the floor, because people don't walk in and go, oh, I wonder what the ceiling's made out of. No, they always want to know about the floor. They always want to see the floor. So the more you can showcase the floor, that's why I put the tripod at chest high, because that gets so much more floor than it does the ceilings. And then if I need to get ceilings, I can try to scoot back, but in a small room like this and in bathrooms, it's better to shoot the floor. If you have to pick between the two, shoot the floor. Well, I hope you found today's video informative and helpful. And like I said before, if you have any comments or any issues with your editing or questions, pretty soon I'm gonna be coming out and posting stuff about editing real estate videos. So make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can see when I put those out. See you next time. Oh.